sprint, because it is such an incredible tragedy for a community like Sutherland Springs. So, from the top, there's been a shooting at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs, and we are waiting for a briefing from the Department of Public Safety. We hope to have more information shortly. Sue Calberg, live in Sutherland Springs, Texas.
Again, Facebook family, if you are continuing to stay with us right now, we are outside of the community building. Sue has been giving us an update as to what she's been seeing. I believe we're still on KENS 5 TV right now as I speak. If you are near a TV, please tune into that, as Sue is really giving us a briefing exactly what she saw the moment as she arrived here on scene. She was one of the first ones to arrive here on scene in regards to media.
I don't know the answer to that question. I can hear you, but I don't know if I'm hot on television. Jack is getting you. Facebook family, just bear with us because we're doing live television as well. We're not ignoring you on Facebook, but we've got other things going on. We're trying to prepare for the next step in doing live television. I know it's hard when you're watching Facebook and it looks like we're not dialed in, but we've got more than one camera here, and so we're doing more than one thing at once.
As Sue just mentioned, it's Sue Calberg along with Henry Ramos here with KENS 5. Sue has just been on KENS 5 TV right now, giving us an update. Just to describe to you what I'm seeing out here as we're outside the community center. A lot of the residents here are coming into the center with water, with cookies, with food. Obviously for first responders and a lot of the families. It was maybe about 10 minutes ago that someone inside the community center called for families to go inside, as to what we can assume is that they're going to get updated and try to find the answers that they're looking for to see if their loved ones unfortunately passed away. So
we're going to sign off. Wait a minute. Stand by, Jack. We're going to sign off on Facebook Live because we need this phone to establish IFB. So Facebook family, join us on KENS 5 on television here shortly.
Okay, guys, I'll keep following this, let everybody know what's going on. See you guys in a bit when I get the live feed back up.
Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm also from Louisiana. There are places where you know your people. We know each other's people.
Yes.
So one of the questions that they're going to be looking at, who is the family of this shooter? What will they be trying to find out in that regard?
Well, number one, if the person is, and the shooter is from the community, quite naturally, they're going to want to interview relatives if the person is from the community. And that is, they're going to want to try to find out if the person had a beef with somebody in the church. Was there something that drew him to that church to carry out this mass shooting? And when I say him, we don't know whether it's he or she at this stage. But we do know that if he's from that community, he's probably got relatives in that community. They will be able to tell us if he had some kind of, or she had some kind of mental infirmity. That's going to go a long ways. As you know, we just had the shooting out in Las Vegas, and we still, till this moment, don't know the motivation behind that shooting. And to bring some closure. You'll never bring closure to an act of this nature, but to bring some closure, individuals are going to want to know what motivated this person. Why would you go into a house of worship, a house of God, on a Sunday morning where little kids and their families are worshiping God, and open fire in that venue? And not only open fire, but then to reload and to continue to shoot people. What is the motivation? That's going to be something that's significant and important here in this whole process.
Let me just point out the authorities do say it was a gunman, so they do believe it's a man and not a woman. And as you point out, Nikki Haley, our UN ambassador, said a church is the most sacred of places. No words.
Well, you know, Eric, you and I, through the years, have covered these shootings, and it doesn't get any easier. It's a tragedy. This gunman that we know that it was a gunman, why? Why would you do this? And so there are a lot of people in that community. They're going to galvanize and coalesce around each other, and they're going to be strong in that community. But what I'm concerned about, again, is not only this community, but communities all over our country where on Sunday morning, men and women dress their children, go into the church to worship their God, and then to have something like this to happen in one of the most sacred of sacred places.
It is indeed unthinkable. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas tweeting, keeping all harmed in Sutherland Springs in our prayers, and grateful for our brave first responders on the scene. We're back after this break.
You see my resume. You imagine who I am, what I look like, where I live. But look past the things that won't make a difference to find someone who will. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Get a free mesothelioma book from mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. That's why we offer this free book.
Call toll-free at 1-800-745-BOOK.
We're on to you, diabetes. Time's up insufficient prenatal care. And administrative paperwork, your days of drowning people are numbered. Same goes for you, budget overruns. And rising costs. Wipe that smile off your face. We're coming for you too. At Optum, we're partnering across the health system to tackle its biggest challenges. Optum, how well gets done.
I'm 65 and healthy. I'm not at risk.
Even healthy adults 65 and older are at increased risk of pneumococcal pneumonia.
Isn't it like a bad cold or flu?
Pneumococcal pneumonia is a potentially serious bacterial lung disease. In some cases, part of your lung may fill with mucus, making it hard to breathe.
Can I catch it from a pneumococcal vaccination?
No, the vaccines do not contain live bacteria.
Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about how to help protect yourself.
Life happens. That's why feeling safe is priceless. With ADT, you can feel safe with an ADT starter kit professionally installed for only $49. Call today and install an ADT starter kit that includes security panel, keypad, key fob, entry and motion sensors, and for a limited time, get a camera included and installed at no additional cost. That's a $449 value, installed for just $49. ADT has over 140 years of security experience. With our commitment to customer service and round-the-clock professional monitoring, you have the comfort of knowing that ADT is helping protect what matters most. Call today or visit ADT.com to get your ADT starter kit installed for just $49. ADT, we help keep you safe so you can feel secure. Call 1-888-337-SAFE or visit ADT.com to get your ADT starter kit for just $49.
Morning on the beach was so peaceful. Until it wasn't. Don't let type 2 diabetes get between you and your heart, because your risk of heart attack or stroke is up to 4 times greater. But there are steps you can take to lower your cardiovascular risk. Talk to your healthcare provider today about diabetic heart disease. And find out more at heartoftype2.com. Your heart and type 2 diabetes. Make the connection.
We've been following this horrendous news out of South Sutherland, Texas. The church there you see in the upper right of your screen, the target of a horrible attack during the services this morning. Authorities say multiple have been killed, others wounded, including children, among them a 2-year-old toddler, when a gunman walked in during the 11:30 services at that Baptist church and opened fire during the services. There are no words for this type of horrendous tragedy that has scarred our country yet again in the wake of other church shootings. The Las Vegas massacre just over 1 month ago. It apparently has happened again. The gunman, police say, has been shot dead. There is no public identity of that gunman yet. We do not know a motive. We don't know if this is indeed a terrorist act, a hate crime against a religion, some type of domestic dispute, but multiple people dead would indicate some type of terrorist motivation, whether it is international or domestic. Brian Yennis has been following with some of the latest from our newsroom. Brian, what do you got?
Hi, Eric. Well, we're now getting more information about the victims. We now know that 10 victims were transported to Connolly Medical Center. They were transported there by ambulance. This hospital is 18 minutes southwest of Sutherland Springs. The hospital says that they had to airlift one victim that arrived at that hospital to a hospital in San Antonio. We've called other hospitals, but we do know that Connolly Medical Center is a level 4 trauma hospital. Level 4 is actually limited. Level 1 trauma hospital would be the hospital that could deal with the most severe of injuries. We know that Connolly Hospital Medical Center is the closest hospital to that Baptist church, so it would make sense that many of the victims who could be transported by ambulance would go there. But in terms of the most severe of wounds, we know that the better hospitals to deal with that are 2 hospitals in San Antonio. That would be the San Antonio Military Center, that is actually described as the Army's premier medical institution. We know that they are a level 1 trauma center, and we also know that the other hospital would be University Hospital, which is a level 1 or 2 hospital in San Antonio. We've reached out to both hospitals, and they've been able to give us no comment. The only hospital that has been able to speak to us right now is Connolly Medical Center. Again, they have treated close to 10 people. They've gunshot wounds. One victim has had to be sent via airlift to a San Antonio hospital. Other victims were transferred. I don't have a number as to how many were transferred to other hospitals in San Antonio. That is the latest that we have in terms of how the situation right now. We know that those victims that arrived at Connolly Medical Center arrived at just after noon time. We know that the shooting took place at about 11:30.
You know, you have to understand, you look at that church, it's a rather small building, and as was noted earlier, the people in this type of situation, horrible to say they're just targets. If they're not armed, they're there. In the middle of a service, we're told that the gunman apparently had enough time to reload and continue his targeting of the victims there. Reports say multiple have been shot dead in this horrendous attack, and no word yet on the suspect or motive at this moment. Certainly just another case of the sad, tragic news that we've had to endure as Americans in the wake of these type of incidents.
Sad, tragic news. Indeed, Eric, it has gripped us. It has captivated us in the most horrific of ways. You have House Speaker Paul Ryan tweeting, reports out of Texas are devastating. The people of Sutherland Springs need our prayers right now. We have been reporting on this mass shooting on a Sunday morning, a sacred morning in America, and especially a sacred morning in tiny town USA, there in Sutherland Springs, a home to about 400 people. This church, First Baptist Church, is a bedrock in that community, founded in 1926. Total members, I'm told, 267. It is where people, as we just heard, one of the parishioners who was there when this lone gunman came in and opened fire at 11:30 a.m. Central Town, where one of the people said that we don't even lock our doors. In fact, my keys are in my car right now. Multiple fatalities, multiple injuries. happening in Sutherland Springs, Texas. We are covering this breaking news story here on the Fox News channel. We will continue to cover this. We have some law enforcement specialists standing by with where this investigation is now and where it will be heading in the weeks and months to come. Stay right here as we continue to report on this unfolding story here on the Fox News channel, as tragedy has struck the heart of America once again with a Sunday morning shooting, a lone gunman who has now been killed by law enforcement. Enforcement agents on the ground. We're not sure exactly how he died, but we'll have those details as we get them. We're going to take a break and we're back shortly. Stay right here.
Ron, something's going on in Schwab.
Weeks upon weeks, this church has posted each Sunday service on its YouTube channel to be viewed by its congregation and others at their leisure. Looking at the video from weeks past, you can see the community feel that exists inside the walls of that church for that congregation. Looking at just last week's sermon, you saw children in the congregation with their parents. I saw one little girl sitting on her dad's lap during the service, elderly in the front row. But as it's been explained to me, this is a community of friends and neighbors, a very small rural community where everyone knows each other. And it was expressed to me by one member of that community this morning, a real fear that they could know the gunman.
All right, we'll wait for more information as the investigation is still very much underway. Kaylee Hartung, thank you so much. We're going to take a short break for now, and we'll be right back.
For millions of baby boomers, there's a serious virus out there that's been almost forgotten. It's hepatitis C. 1 in 30 boomers has hep C, yet most don't even know it, because it can hide in your body for years without symptoms, and it's not tested for in routine blood work. The CDC recommends all baby boomers get tested. If you have hep C, it can be cured. For us, it's time to get tested. Ask your healthcare provider for the simple blood test. It's the only way to know for sure.
Valhalla awaits. The Great North calls out for heroes. Train your army and lay waste to your rivals. Play Vikings, War of Clans for free.
Olay Regenerist shatters the competition, hydrating skin better than prestige creams costing over $100, $200, and even $400. For skin that looks younger than it should. Fact check this ad in Good Housekeeping. Olay Regenerist, ageless.
I found a better deal on prescriptions.
We found affordable copays.
And even a plan with dental and vision coverage.
Affordable premiums and the same doctor? What more could I ask for?
It's Medicare annual election time again. Have you compared plans yet? For me and my wife, we were able to find a plan that's right for us by calling the folks at MedicareAdvantage.com. It's easy. They had plans with the options we wanted, and instead of spending time doing research, I'm spending time with my grandkids.
If you have Medicare Part A and Part B, or any Medicare Advantage plan, benefits may now be available to you with no copays, no deductibles, or $0 premiums. And you may be eligible for plans that even include dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage. Call now to speak to a licensed insurance agent who can help guide you step by step through a free quote. Or go to MedicareAdvantage.com to use the plan comparison tool and find highly rated plans from nationally recognized insurance companies.
It's a new Medicare year. That could mean more changes and more confusion. Do you still have the plan that's right for you? There may be plans now that cost you less, cover more, and give you more choices like dental and vision, gym memberships, and the freedom to choose your own doctors at a price you can afford.
MedicareAdvantage.com searches thousands of insurance plans from leading insurance companies. New plans are now available that could increase your benefits, lower how much you pay out of pocket, and even lower your prescription cost.
I didn't think I could get excited about prescription drug coverage, but I did.
My plan pays for my vitamins, my allergy medicine, even my toothpaste.
There are only weeks left to find out about the benefits available to you. Call now.
Take advantage of what's available to you with MedicareAdvantage.com.
Call 800-991-9472. That's 800-991-9472. Call now.
Anthony
Bourdain in Puerto Rico.
What will happen to this beautiful place?
Only Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown, Puerto Rico, tonight at 9 on CNN. Missed an episode? Season 10 is on iTunes now.
Welcome back. We continue to watch this breaking news. A tragic situation. Multiple people shot at a church in Sutherland Springs, located just east of San Antonio, Texas. Law enforcement still on the scene there. A number of people injured have been transported, but we've been talking to our law enforcement analysts, Art Roderick and Cedric Alexander, and they have explained that customary, those mortally wounded are likely still within that church. It will be hours before this scene is cleared. It is an active investigation right now. We understand that the gunman was pursued by law enforcement into a neighboring county of Guadalupe County. This church taking place in Wilson County, and that gunman is dead. Still unclear whether that was the result of a self-inflicted wound or if police took that person down. Law enforcement analysts Art Roderick, Cedric Alexander with me now. Gentlemen, so many prayers being conveyed to Sutherland Springs by so many. The president, while he is abroad in Japan, and also Senator Ted Cruz also saying via tweet, keeping all harmed in Sutherland Springs in our prayers and grateful for our brave first responders on the scene. Both of you have talked about how it will be hours before this scene is cleared. So, Art, give us an idea of the intricacies of what's taking place likely in that church with so many. We still don't have an official number of so many who are dead. Explain to us now the trajectory, the investigations of bullet casings, all that are taking place within that church.
Yeah, when you look at a crime scene like this is it takes hours to sort through this, and unfortunately, it's a sad part of law enforcement that you've got at least 24 people dead. I'm sure it's a horrible scene in there, but they have to look at every single body. They have to do photographs. They have to do ballistics trajectory tests. They're looking at shell casings. They're making sure there was only one or what weapons were actually used in this particular incident, and it's going to take a lot of time. And that's just the sad part of any crime scene that we deal with here in the United States. It just takes a lot of time to figure out exactly what occurred in that particular scene.
All right, Art Roderick, thank you so much. Cedric Alexander, I'm going to get your take after this short break. For now, we continue to watch the developments there out of Sutherland Springs there. Tragic situation involving this church shooting. One county commissioner telling us 27 dead, 24 injured. Again, CNN is unable to verify that number, but that coming from a local official on the ground there. We'll be right back.
Olay Ultra Moisture Body Wash. Gives skin the moisture it needs and keeps it there longer. With lock-in moisture technology, skin is petal smooth. After all, a cleanser's just a cleanser, unless it's Olay.
It's back to school time, so make time for you.
Stay tuned for a special limited time TV offer from Nutrisystem.
I'm Melissa Joan Hart, and I lost 40 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Be one of the first 500 callers and save $80 right now.
I'm Marie, and I lost 50 pounds on Nutrisystem.
Lose weight fast with Nutrisystem's Lean 13. Lose up to 13 pounds and 7 inches overall in your first month. Lose weight fast, money back guaranteed.
I have so much more energy.
Order your 4-week plan right now and we'll rush you Lean 13. Get specially selected meals, plus 1 week of Nutri-Crush bars to crush cravings free, and 1 week of Turbo Shakes to bust belly bloat free. Don't forget, be one of the first 500 callers and save $80 right now on Uniquely Yours, our most popular plan with over 150 foods.
This is your moment. Don't wait. Start looking and feeling great today.
Call 888-802-THIN right now and get Lean 13 with shakes and bars free and save $80.
Over 40, feeling tired, losing muscle, and even romantic drive? Man up with Ageless Male. Natural ingredients clinically shown to support energy, promote muscle, and boost free testosterone. Man up with Ageless Male.
Beaches, Turks, and Caicos was created with everyone in mind. That's why everyone thinks it was created just for them. And it was. Generation Everyone.
Yeah, we're all about a good time. Yeah, we're all about a good life. You won't believe it.
Believe it. That's why we've been voted world's best 19 years in a row. Beaches, Turks, and Caicos, the #1 all-inclusive family resort. Call 1-800-BEACHES.
This is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that it's a banana. They might scream banana, banana, banana over and over and over again. They might put banana in all caps. You might even start to believe that this is a banana. But it's not. This is an apple.
Go. Go to work. Go to meetings. Go to lunch. Go to the gym. But when it's time to relax, don't go anywhere. With Soothe, you can get a spa-quality massage at home anytime. Just select your massage, when and where, then relax. Our licensed massage therapist.
By midnight, the drug-free way to get the sleep you need.
Does your sleep aid leave you groggy? Switch to Drug-Free Midnight. It's specially formulated to work with the body's sleep mechanism to promote natural sleep. Try Midnight tonight.
All right, welcome back. Hello, everyone. I'm Frederica Whitfield. We're watching breaking news out of Texas. Many people have been shot at a church in Sutherland Springs, located east of San Antonio. This is what we know. Wilson County Commissioner Albert Gomez Jr. tells CNN he was told by an emergency responder there that multiple people are dead and dozens are injured. The FBI and first responders are on the scene. The gunman, we understand, is dead after a brief chase. CNN's Kaylee Hartung joins me now. You've talked to a number of people. You're getting a sense as to what may have unfolded today, roughly 11:30 Central Time.
11:30 this morning in the middle of First Baptist church service. It was told to me by a witness, a woman, a cashier at a gas station across the street, that she heard what she thought to be about 20 shots fired around 11:30 this morning. She said it sounded as if it was the work of a semi-automatic weapon. We've learned from local officials that a brief pursuit then ensued as police chased the gunman across the county line. That pursuit ended with the gunman's death, though it's unclear if police killed the man or if he took his own life. We're seeing federal, state, and local assets on the ground there, as many are injured. Some patients, 8 patients we hear, are at University Health Hospital in San Antonio. More are at Connolly Memorial Medical Center in Floresville, but we still do not know the identity of the suspect here. Or more about what happened inside the walls of that First Baptist church this morning, a very tight-knit community. We are hearing from Governor Greg Abbott as he says our prayers are with all who were harmed by this evil act. Our thanks to law enforcement for their response. More details from DPS soon. And Fred, we could learn more details from investigators as we believe that video exists of what transpired this morning. First Baptist Church posts its services on its YouTube channel week to week so that its congregation can view that sermon online. You would have to think that today wouldn't have been any different, that camera would have been rolling as it always does to record the service. You can only imagine if that video does exist, it will be critical to this investigation.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Kaylee. All right. Joining me right now on the phone, Nanette Kilby-Smith. She's an editor with the Wilson County News, the paper covering Sutherland Springs, Texas. And we understand, Nanette, you were one of the first on the scene. Describe for me what you saw.
I wasn't one of the first on the scene, but one of the few media outlets that was here in the initial aftermath. It's a chaotic scene. Every agency possible, from the county and nearby communities descended to actually render aid and assistance and make sense of the scene. We have unconfirmed reports of as many as 24 dead, perhaps as more than 30 that are injured. These include elderly, young families, young children among the fatalities from what we know. Nothing has been confirmed at this point. This is very much still an active scene. And obviously this is the heart of the community, and it's taking its toll on the people here.
I know it has to be. The heart of the community. Population, what, just 643 people, a very small, intimate community. Nanette, can you describe for me, is this a place where generally everybody knows one another?
Yes. Yes, it is. Very much so. Very much so. Everybody knows everybody. They all come out for the different community events.
So for you responding to this, covering it as a reporter, but also someone who, is part of the fabric of the community, this is very personal. How about for first responders who are responding to this tragedy, knowing that this is such a small, close-knit community? Presumably, many of the victims are friends or family members of all of you.
They are. They are. It's very personal to all our communities, and it's been very difficult for the first responders on the scene.
I imagine so. We understand that the gunman is dead, and we don't know whether it is self-inflicted or whether this gunman was taken down by police. There was a chase. What can you tell us about this chase that went into the neighboring county just miles away?
Very little. Other than that there was a chase and that the shooter did not survive. But it has not been made clear at this point the manner of that death. And we're waiting on official word here on the ground.
And Nanette, where are you in terms of proximity to the church right now?
I'm a block away from the church. I'm actually sitting outside the local community center, which has been turned into a family resource center. This is where the families of the victims are waiting for word of.
Oh my goodness, so that is a tough place. So what are you hearing from people as they are awaiting word, whether their family members were in there, whether they've been transported? Describe for me what is being expressed by people there.
Shock. It's just complete shock. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Complete disbelief.
This has to be particularly difficult for you as a journalist. You cover the community there, but now you're approaching people that you know, loved ones, friends, people that you come into contact with on a regular basis, and you are also a source of information for them. At the same time, you're also trying to extend comfort. Describe for me what that has been like for you.
I really don't know how to put it into words. I mean, yes, I'm here in an official capacity, but I'm also here because this is where we live. And these are people that I know and have known for years. And I offer what comfort and prayers I can in the circumstances. And sometimes it's not words. You just embrace and offer what comfort you can, and how can you comfort in these circumstances?
Nanette, have you been
There's no words we can offer.
Understandably. Have you been to First Baptist Church?
Yes.
Describe it for me.
It's your quintessential small country church, white painted frame building, wood pews, just small town America, where people go to worship and praise and gather and celebrate. And It's a very vibrant church community.
And my colleague here, I apologize. Go ahead, Nanette.
No, go ahead.
My colleague here, Kaylee, also discovered that that church is one that posts its services on YouTube. Is this something that people, customarily, if they're unable to get to church, they would enjoy being able to attend church, so to speak, by way of YouTube?
Yes, many people do. Yeah, they're very popular. Popular way to reach the community members. Sometimes the homebound, sometimes those that they're away from home. That's their way of staying in touch. I'm going to have to go.
Okay. Well, Nanette, you've been very helpful. We are so sorry because this is your community. This is where you live, where you work, your friends and family. This is very personal for you. Our prayers go out to you and the community there in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Nanette, thank you so much.
On that note is prayers. The community is welcoming the prayers of everyone. And that's what we need most right now.
And there have been so many prayers extended from the President of the United States while he is overseas on his 5 Asian nation tour. Right now, we've heard from Texas Senator Ted Cruz, Texas Governor Greg Abbott as well. Our Jeremy Diamond is traveling with the president. He's joining us right now from Tokyo. The president staying abreast of this tragedy. You're reminding us this is taking place just 1 month after the Las Vegas massacre, and now this very small-knit community is tragically, touched by this spate of violence here taking place in the middle of church service today. Jeremy.
Yeah, that's right. And the president, despite being thousands of miles away, is obviously monitoring this situation, getting updates from his staff on the latest. We know that law enforcement and the FBI are on the scene. So those updates filtering up to the president while he is here in Tokyo. This is what the president tweeted just a little bit ago. He said, "May God be with the people of Sutherland Springs, Texas. The FBI and law enforcement are on the scene. I am monitoring the situation from Japan." The president just arrived here in Tokyo less than 24 hours ago, and this is of course where he was expected to focus on trade, focus on the North Korean threat. Now this is obviously going to cast a much larger shadow over the entirety of his trip, and it is also in the United States likely to once again ignite this conversation about how do we address these mass shootings that seem to take place all too often in the United States. 35 days ago, this shooting in Las Vegas, and yet we have not seen any action, of course, substantive action from Congress or from the president. So those questions likely to be posed once again. But for now, at least, the president offering his thoughts and prayers. We are expected to see him on camera later today, and we'll have to wait and see what he has to say about yet another tragic shooting in the United States, one that every president, it seems, in recent memory has to deal with in one way or another.
All right, horrible situation indeed. I spoke with a county commissioner earlier who said, based on information he received from an EMS official, that upwards of 24 people dead and about 24 injured. But again, those numbers have not been authenticated and verified from law enforcement directly to CNN. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much, traveling with the president. All right, on the phone right now with me, CNN law enforcement analyst Art Roderick and former ATF executive Matthew Horace. All right, good that both of you could be with me. Let's talk about the intricacies of how this investigation moves forward. Matthew, we know that ATF is on the scene. You formerly, with your experience with ATF, what will be their focus there at the church?
Well, they're going to be supporting the incident command. I'm presuming that the FBI is leading the investigation. They're going to have to, this is one complex crime scene with over 24 deaths. So those victims are going to have to remain into place. There's interviews that need to be accomplished. They need to gather rounds that have been shot both within the victims and in the building in general. I understand that the service is normally videotaped. They're going to, I'm sure, go back and check the video to see if they have any depiction of the incident. And there's just an awful lot of work that needs to be done over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours.
And Art Roderick, who leads an investigation like this when you've got federal, state, local law enforcement at a shooting taking place in a sanctuary?
Well, this will be a joint investigation at this particular point in time, so they can figure out what the motive is. If this is a hate crime, then the FBI will probably step in and take over. If not, then you have the Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS, or the Texas Rangers will generally handle something like this, but they will assist the local law enforcement agency there. A lot of times in these small police departments, and we have the overwhelming majority of our police departments here in the U.S. are 50 people or less. I think it's like 85%. So the local PD will need assistance on this particular case. And once they figure out the motive, I think everybody's going to fall into place at that particular point in time. But the bottom line is we have a dead perpetrator, and now it's just a matter of putting the pieces together. We no longer have a manhunt, and now law enforcement can take their time and put together a solid case as to exactly what the motive is, why this individual did what he did.
All right, Art Roderick, Matthew Horace, thank you so much. We're going to take a short break for now. We'll have much more on this tragedy at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas.
I do quite a bit of holiday shopping, and I use Ebates for all of it. I earn cash.
Are involved in, and oftentimes it takes the form of physical violence, and it's heartbreaking and horrific. It's indescribable to just think what happened there. And of course, this will not stop the gospel of Christ. It will not stop the godly people who seek to serve the Lord there. And so we're coming alongside of them in every way that we possibly can.
God bless you and thank you. You just used the words dynamic attack. I mean, this is, according to the Texas Governor Greg Abbott, saying an evil act. You know, the investigators are going to start going through the background of this shooter. They're going to go look at motivation, whether it was a terrorist attack, whether it was a domestic cause, whether it was a domestic dispute, whether it was international terrorism or jihad that we've been reporting and we're becoming all too so familiar with in this country. But talk about evil. Talk about something that would be in someone's heart. To go in the morning at 11:30 in the morning and see children in their faces. We saw this in Las Vegas. We've seen this elsewhere in this country too often. We saw it with Dylan Roof in Charleston, South Carolina, and his hatred motivated by race. Tell us a bit about evil acts and what could perpetrate someone to actually do something like this.
It's actually target with all of that. The motive is irrelevant. What is a fact that we all know is that it is evil. And we live in a fallen world, and rather than all of us, we of course have the conscience that God gives us, but all of us have the propensity toward evil, and only by the goodness of God working in our hearts can we be restrained, and only by the personal relationship with Christ can we have the power to overcome evil in our own lives. And so when it comes out like this, when this type of violence, senseless killing, the unexplained motive, it doesn't really matter, because we know that the root of it comes from the very depths of evil, and it is demonic.
It's a town of like just under 700 people, and if the numbers bear out, 24 murdered in cold blood in broad daylight, 20 more wounded. You've got roughly 50 people or more who, roughly in that church. I mean, that's like 8% of the town's population. And this is the type of thing, having seen what we experienced here in New York City this past week, that basically does not happen in small town America.
Yes, that's and of course with the numbers that we're hearing, it sounds like he may have actually shot every person in that room. It would be about the same in attendance as the numbers that we're getting back.
And finally, Mr. Richards, what are you telling your congregants, what are you telling the pastors as part of the Southern Baptist Church of Texas in terms of what they can tell the faithful, they can tell their parishioners and the churchgoers?
Absolutely. We're calling on everyone to pray and ask the Lord for grace and to provide strength for the people who are going through this. And so we welcome people to lift up their prayers for these individuals who are directly impacted at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs.
Jim Richards, thank you. We will pray and ask for God's grace. All Americans should do that this afternoon. Thank you. Our heart is with you. Our sympathy is with you. Our prayers are with you. And we will be right back.
You might take... But what type of psychological assistance might they be getting at this time?
Well, it's no doubt about it that unless you have been in a war zone or familiar with these kinds of shooting, which most of these people are perhaps not, they're going to be tremendously traumatized by what has taken place here. And that trauma could very well follow them the rest of their lives. So what is going to need right now are what is definitively called grief counselors. They're going to need individuals like pastors. We just had a pastor on in the previous segment, and he is sending other ministers to that church, according to him. And they're going to need psychological evaluation. So they're going to have psychiatrists there also. And again, they're going to have grief counselors there because they need that. They're going to need it tremendously at this time.
Ted, I just have been told some even more tragic news on top of this already horrendous tragic, that we are being told now that the Pastor Frank Pomeroy, the pastor of First Baptist Church, that his 14-year-old daughter was one of the members in that church service, and she was killed.
You know, I get emotional just here on this set. You think about a 14-year-old child, and you think about all the other children that was in that church with their parents, and you think about the fact that they were innocent people, and that somebody with a cowardly act just came in and took the lives of these innocent people. You know, there are going to be a lot of question marks about this. How can we, in the future, stop something like this from happening when people are so vulnerable on a Sunday morning, worshiping their God in a church, and to have this to happen? And then to think of the pastor's daughter, 14 years of age, innocent, shot by a coward. It's just a very traumatic situation.
Ted, I'm sure...
Inexplicable.
Yeah, I'm sure that there are many people watching right now, and they share your passion, your compassion, your heartfelt heartbreak. Eric?
You know, you don't think of guns in church. This may lead to a debate. In Arkansas, State Senator Brian King had written and passed in Arkansas what's called the Church Protection Act. The Church Protection Act in that state allows the church to decide to designate a parishioner or an official of the church to have a concealed weapon on him or her someplace in the church during services. You would not imagine that this country has come to the point where we have to legalize having a firearm in a church to protect people worshiping God. But that is perhaps where we are at. It is called the Church Protection Act, sponsored and written by State Senator Brian King in Arkansas, because as Ted has indicated, it is just beyond comprehension that such a sacred place would be violated in this manner by this man, whoever did it. And again, we want to stress, his identity has not been publicly made known yet. Authorities have not told us what his motive is yet. It is not known whether this was a domestic act of terrorism or international terrorism or something else at this time. It is another horrific, shooting in this country. 20 to 24 people shot dead as they worshiped in church. If this doesn't start and continue the debate that we have been having, I don't know what will, after what this country has undergone the past few months.
It shouldn't happen anywhere. It shouldn't happen in a tiny town of 400 people where they are very comfortable with and accustomed to leaving their doors open, leaving their keys in their cars. That is the heart of America, where innocence prevails and now evil has come in and stepped in.
We will have more details and further reports in just a moment here in the Fox News channel as we report on this extremely sad story today that has really struck at the heart of the American soul.
All right, I brought in high protein to help get us moving and help you feel more strength.
The new gold standard.